29th edition of the Pan-African Film and Television Festival of Ouagadougou, FESPACO. Watch World of Africa at these times on WION World is One.
This week on Take It Out, we take you inside Christie's controversial art auction. We also show you an app that is helping homeowners divide chores efficiently. And we give you a sneak peek into Amazon's latest offering. This and more on WION World is One at these times. Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
This week on the West Asia Post. US President Donald Trump shares an AI-made version of a Gaza trailer, showing Trump Gaza resort, while newborn Palestinian babies die from extreme cold in the war-torn enclave. Amid fears of a joint US-Israel attack on its nuclear sites, Iran continues to be on high alert. UN atomic watchdog says Iran enriching its uranium to weapon-grade level. Also on the show, we talk about Israel's plan to demilitarize Syria and Syria's plans for its future. Catch the West Asia Post only on WION World is One.
Hello and welcome. You're watching WION World is One. This is World DNA with me, Hem Kaur Saroya, and here's a look at what we've lined up for you on the show this morning.
Well, your country is in big trouble. Wait a minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have.
A meeting between Donald Trump and Zelensky turns into a shouting match at the Oval Office. The US president accuses his counterpart of not being thankful and gambling with World War III.
I would say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand. Thank you very much. It's an honor to have.
In an unprecedented clash at the Oval Office, Trump accused Zelensky of overplaying his hand and wanting to drag out conflict with Russia. Zelensky said there should be no compromises with Vladimir Putin. Zelensky told to leave the White House after the clash. His planned news conference was cancelled. Trump says minerals deal with Ukraine will be signed later. Zelensky can come back when he's ready for peace.
Do you think your relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump, after today, can be salvaged?
Yes, of course, because it's relations more than two presidents.
In an interview with Fox News, Zelensky declines to apologize for clash with Trump, says relations with the US can be salvaged. Ukrainian air defense systems shoot down Russian drones after at least 8 Shahed drones were launched on Kharkiv's civil infrastructure. India's foreign exchange reserves rose to a two-month high of $640.5 billion in the latest week, driven by a sharp recovery in the rupee. The reserves rose by $4.8 billion in the latest week. Australia sealed their place in the semi-finals of the Champions Trophy after their game against Afghanistan is washed out in Lahore. The Afghans are now on the brink of elimination. And of course, our top focus this morning, the shouting match at the Oval Office. Kyiv's relations with its most important wartime ally have plummeted to a new low. Donald Trump cut short his meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky and said that the Ukrainian leader is not ready for peace with Russia. This clash, an extraordinary shouting match in the Oval Office, has thrown questions over chances for a truce. Zelensky was meant to make a full White House visit to sign a minerals deal with the United States as part of post-war recovery in a US-brokered truce. Instead, an ugly clash blew up almost immediately, where Trump and Vance shouted at Zelensky, accusing him of not being thankful for United States help in the 3-year war against the Russian invasion. Trump berated Zelensky, telling him that without US assistance, Ukraine would have been conquered by Russia. According to a US official, the Ukrainian leader was told to leave.
And we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
allowed.
cabinet.
You haven't been allowed.
In this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment.
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about West?
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks. Of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this, I tell you.
Now, this meltdown came after Trump said Ukraine will have to make compromises in a truce with Russia, adding that they hopefully won't be as big as some people think. But showing Trump pictures of war atrocities, Zelensky said there should be no compromise with a killer on their territory.
You don't have the cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't please
you're running
be
low
surprised.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course.
Zelensky left his motorcade shortly after without holding a planned joint conference. The White House has said that the resources deal has been left unsigned. Trump took to his Truth Social platform to say that Zelensky disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office. Trump further wrote that Zelensky is not ready for peace and can come back when he is ready. The meeting had appeared to get off to a friendlier start, though. Initially, I think President Trump is on our side. That's what Zelensky said. But it soon was followed by dramatic public meltdown that you just saw.
But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
Trump has said Zelensky overplayed his hand during their clash, accusing his visitor of wanting to drag out conflict with Russia. While departing the White House for his Florida estate, Trump said he wants a ceasefire now. The U.S. president accused Zelensky for looking for something that he's not looking for. After the clash, Zelensky told Fox News that he respects Trump and that the American people as well, and that the relation between him and Trump can be salvaged. But he declined to apologize, saying he's not sure that he did something wrong.
You regret that? Are you regretting that that happened today?
Yes, I think it was not good. I think it was not good.
Do you think your relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump, after today, can be salvaged?
Yes, of course, because it's relations more than two presidents. It's the historical relations, strong relations between our people.
Now, after that appalling spat, Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal has reaffirmed that peace with Russia without any security guarantees is not possible. He said in a social media post that ceasefire without guarantees is the way to Russian occupation of the whole European continent. And following that verbal spat between US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky at the Oval Office, world leaders reacted to the war of words between Trump and Zelensky. Democrats in the US Senate accused President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance of siding with Russian President Vladimir Putin. They also condemned Trump and Vance of doing Putin's dirty work. In a post on social media platform X, French President Emmanuel Macron backed the Ukrainian president following the latter's tense meeting with Trump, of course. Macron called Russia an aggressor and Ukraine the victim.
I think we all know the situation. There's an aggressor, which is Russia, and a people attacked, which is Ukraine. I think we all were right to have helped Ukraine and sanctioned Russia 3 years ago, and to continue to do so. And when I say we, I mean the United States, Europeans, Canadians, Japanese and others.
Backing Macron's comments, Germany's Conservative Party leader Friedrich Merz assured his support to Ukraine. In a post on social media platform X, Merz said that the aggressor and the victim must not be confused in this terrible war. Furthermore, Germany's foreign minister said that Europe and its allies are standing alongside Ukraine in its war against Russia. In addition to this, Poland also voiced its support for Ukraine. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk took to his social media account X, saying that Ukraine is not alone. The European Union also assured its unwavering support to Ukraine in a joint statement. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen urged Ukraine to stay strong and fearless. She also addressed President Zelensky, saying that he is not alone. Further, the EU has also questioned Trump's leadership while adding that the world needs a new leader. Meanwhile, Canada's foreign minister backed President Zelensky, saying that Ukrainians are fighting for their freedom and ours. On the contrary, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán expressed his gratitude to US President Donald Trump for standing bravely for peace. He said in a post on X that only strong men make peace and weak men make war. Similarly, Russia's foreign ministry said that the US President Donald Trump showed restraint by not hitting Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. Furthermore, Russia's former president and the deputy chief of the country's Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, said that Zelensky received a proper slapdown in the Oval Office. For more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Listen to this.
The fallout from the Trump-Zelensky-Vance showdown has the potential to reshape the geopolitical chessboard. Donald Trump's statement that Volodymyr Zelensky can come back when he is, quote, ready for peace reflects the frustration with Ukraine's persistent push for military assistance prior to any deal with Russia. Meanwhile, Volodymyr Zelensky's refusal to apologize during his Fox News interview on Friday may underscore Ukraine's defiance, but also may not do Ukraine any favors in garnering future U.S. support. So the question is, will the United States now pivot away from Ukraine? Will the Europeans fill the gap? Will they even be able to? And more importantly, did what just happened at the Oval Office kill all hopes for peace, or is this all part of the art of the deal? We'll soon find out. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World this World.
Now, the United States has announced the approval of the sale of more than $3 billion in munitions, bulldozers and related equipment to Israel, which used American-made weapons to devastating effect in the densely populated Gaza. The U.S. Defense Security Cooperation Agency said Secretary of State Marco Rubio signed off on the sales of $2.04 billion in bomb bodies and warheads, another $675.7 million in other bomb bodies and guidance kits, and $295 million in bulldozers and related equipment. DSCA said the United States is committed to the security of Israel, and it is vital to U.S. national interest to assist Israel and develop and maintain a strong and ready self-defense capability. The latest weapons transactions come after Washington approved the sales of more than $7.4 billion in bombs, missiles and related equipment to Israel earlier this month. Meanwhile, Egyptian security forces have said that Israel has sought to extend first phase of Gaza truce by 6 weeks, an Israeli delegation in Cairo to negotiate the extension. Hamas has reportedly opposed the extension and insists on proceeding to the second phase of the deal. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office on Friday held consultations with senior ministers and defense officials on the state of the hostage ceasefire deal in Gaza. The second phase was meant to include steps leading to a permanent end to the war. The first phase of the ceasefire is set to end, and the warring parties are yet to clarify what will happen if no agreement is reached. Egypt and Qatar are mediating the talks with U.S. support. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said that Israel-Hamas ceasefire and hostage release deal must hold. His comments come after Hamas called for international pressure on Israel to enter the next phase of the ceasefire. Furthermore, Israeli military said an airstrike targeted 2 suspects approaching troops in southern Gaza as a hospital received the body of 1 person killed. The army said the 2 suspects were identified in proximity to troops and posed a threat to them was struck by an aircraft in southern Gaza in order to remove the threat. Bangladeshi students who helped oust former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina have launched a new political party. The Jatiya Nagarik Party, or the National Citizens Party, was unveiled in front of the Bangladesh Parliament. The party includes leaders from the powerful Students Against Discrimination movement, which spearheaded last year's uprising. Nahid Islam, a former advisor to the interim government, will lead the party. He says a second republic is now needed. Supporters, many wearing green and red bandanas, screened documentaries showing the uprising that ended Hasina's rule.
We together tore down the conspiracy in July that was created to create division among the people of Bangladesh. Bangladesh will not allow any pro-India or pro-Pakistan politics anymore. We will recreate a state where the people of Bangladesh and their wellness will be the primary concerns.
Hasina, now in self-imposed exile in India, faces an arrest warrant on serious charges. Meanwhile, the current caretaker government says elections are expected in late 2025 or early 2026. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party is widely expected to dominate this race. In India's troubled northeast, a key Meitei group in Manipur state has surrendered 246 weapons to security forces. This comes as the deadline set by the governor to return illegal arms expires. In total, 307 weapons were surrendered across the state. The group says its decision was based on key assurances from the government that include a crackdown on illegal opium cultivation, strengthened border security and a national register of citizens to control immigration. The group has also demanded protection from attacks by Kuki people and a general amnesty for their members, a request that the authorities are now considering. Manipur has been in turmoil since May 2023 with deadly ethnic clashes between the two communities. The unrest has claimed over 250 lives so far and displaced thousands of people. Amid the escalating violence earlier this month, India's central government imposed President's rule taking direct control of the state after the chief minister resigned. Security forces have warned that anyone found with illegal arms will face strict legal consequences. All right, let's now take a look at WION's monthly global economic and markets health check to see what happened in February. Now, broadly, commodities, digital assets and the dollar fell, driven by differing bets, with US President Donald Trump driving tariff headlines almost every other day. Bitcoin crashed over 25% from its new record high hit on Trump's inauguration day in January. Gold was the biggest beneficiary in February, hitting multiple record highs. The yellow metal's shine was driven by safe haven bids from rising trade war fears from Trump's tariff rhetoric. Crude oil tumbled as talks of an end to the Ukraine war have stemmed supply fears. And at the same time, global economic concerns weighed on the demand outlook. Moving on to Asia-Pacific stock markets, the sudden shift away from risk assets hit Asian markets. Most regional benchmarks closed deep in the red in February. Chinese stocks, though, were the exception, driven by tech stocks after a DeepSeek-led rally. Japanese stocks took the biggest hit in the month, down over 6%. The story in American stocks was no different, with the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq reversing from record highs to close out the month in the red. Nasdaq was hit the most, led by a significant decline in tech stocks. Canadian and Brazilian stock indices closed out February with losses as well. European stocks ended February in the green, driven broadly by solid earnings reports and increased military spending expectations boosting defense shares. Stocks across Europe and Africa gained with an eye on the Ukraine peace deal, also helping sentiment somewhat. The German DAX was the biggest gainer in February. Now let's turn our attention to the overall economic outlook. Let's look at the Asia-Pacific region now specifically. Trump's trade war worries have weighed on the outlook for global economies, while India is still expected to be in the fastest growing major economy in the world. Bets are for a significant slowdown. The biggest worry is a fall in demand, which is weighing on sentiment for India. The outlook for the rest in Asia also remained negative. For China, the outlook is still mired in doubts from trade war worries and the recession in real estate crisis. In the Americas, the outlook for the US, Canada, Brazil and Argentina shows trade tariffs are likely to hurt economic growth for the US economy. Recession bets are back on the table. The economic activity expectations in Canada, Brazil and Argentina were also cut. On the other side of the Atlantic, the negative outlook seems to be more widespread. The UK and other European economies will likely avoid a recession, but expectations show the clouds are darkening again. The outlook for African economies also remained negative. Australia have booked their place in the semi-finals of the Champions Trophy. Their final group game against Afghanistan was abandoned due to rain in Lahore, which means the Afghans are all but out of the tournament. This was a virtual quarter-final clash and Afghanistan knew only a win would be enough for them to reach the semi-finals. After their win against England, the Afghans once again put up a good show, with the Bats scoring 273 after winning the toss at the Gaddafi Stadium. Atal scored 85 with Azmatullah Omarzai making 67. Australia were well on their way to that target. A half-century from Travis Head helped them to 109 for 1 after 12.5 overs when rain stopped play. There was no respite from the showers and the match was eventually abandoned due to a wet outfield. Australia joined India and New Zealand in the semi-finals of the Champions Trophy. Now Afghanistan are mathematically still in contention, but South Africa's net run rate makes it next to impossible for them to go through. The Proteas will go through as group winners with a win against England, or if the game is washed out, only a record England win over South Africa will allow Afghanistan to qualify. Hollywood's beloved Justin Bieber, known for his iconic songs Sorry and One Love, turns 31 today as the global star turns a year older. Here's a look at some lesser-known facts about him. Born on the 1st of March 1994 in Ontario, Canada, Bieber started his musical journey at the age of 15. He shot to fame in 2009 due to his debut album My World, laying the foundation for what would become an extraordinary career. With his undeniable talent and infectious charm, the Canadian pop singer quickly rose to global stardom. His solo hits, Love Yourself and Let Me Love You, not only topped the charts but also became cultural anthems, defining an era of pop music. In 2022, the 31-year-old faced a major setback when he was diagnosed with Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, a rare neurological disorder causing facial paralysis. The condition forced him to cancel parts of his Justice World Tour, leaving fans disappointed but supportive of his decision to focus on recovery. But even with a break from the spotlight, Bieber remains one of the biggest names in the industry with a reported net worth of $300 million. The Beauty and the Beat hitmaker is one of the highest paid figures in the industry. And now the star is back in the studio working on fresh material. Music producers have confirmed in September 2024 that he's been collaborating with Bieber, praising his ability to turn anything into a hit. While there's no official release date yet, fans can't wait to see how the next chapter will unfold. And with that, we call wrap on this edition of World DNA. But before we go, here's a look at all the climate stories which are making headlines across the globe. Do stay tuned.
As the countdown begins for Oscars 2025, we take a look at all the top nominees for the 97th Academy Awards. Meet Indian actor and filmmaker Boman Irani as he talks about the Mehta Boys. And know the unknown about Justin Bieber as he turns a year older. All this and much more with me, Diksha Bisla, on WION Club at these times. Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
This week on Inside South Asia, as the first phase of the Israel-Hamas ceasefire comes to an end, friends and family of the Nepal hostage eagerly await the return of the Nepali student in Hamas captivity. Green signal for a radio station for women run by women, although its wings have been severely cut by the Taliban. we take you inside the ghost terminal in Pakistan, why there are no passengers or planes at the China-funded Gwadar International Airport. And a special Mahashivaratri, a rare alignment of stars celebrated across India and the world. All this and much more on Inside South Asia.
In a show of jostling for power, a new Sudan coalition including political parties, armed movements, civil society leaders and the Rapid Support Forces signed a founding charter aimed at establishing a parallel peace and unity government. This weeks after the Sudanese army chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan announced he will form his own technocratic government. Ugandan opposition figure Kizza Besigye appears in court in the East African nation's capital, Kampala, amidst concerns over his health following his hunger strike in protest over his detention. Besigye is facing the death penalty on treason charges. And Burkina Faso's military leader Ibrahim Traoré and the president of Chad, Mahamat Deby, officiate the opening of the 29th edition of the Pan-African Film and Television Festival of Ouagadougou, FESPACO. Watch World of Africa at these times on WION World is One.
The earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
This week on the West Asia Post, US President Donald Trump shares an AI-made version of a Gaza trailer, showing Trump Gaza resort, while newborn Palestinian babies die from extreme cold in the war-torn enclave. Amid fears of a joint US-Israel attack on its nuclear sites, Iran continues to be on high alert. UN atomic watchdog says Iran enriching its uranium to weapon-grade level. Also on the show, we talk about Israel's plan to demilitarize Syria and Syria's plans for its future. Catch the West Asia Post only on WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Welcome back. Thanks very much for staying with us. You are watching WION World is One with me, Raisha Sehgal. Lots landed for you on the show. Let's get you started with the headlines.
Well, your country is in big trouble. Wait a minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President.
A meeting between Donald Trump and Zelensky turns into a shouting match at the Oval Office. US President accuses his Ukrainian counterpart of not being thankful and gambling with World War III. Zelensky told to leave the White House after the clash as planned news conference was cancelled. Trump says minerals deal with Ukraine will be signed later. Zelensky can come back when he is ready for peace.
This was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham calls the White House meeting with Ukrainian President a complete disaster. Says Zelensky either needs to resign or send somebody over that US can do business with.
Do you think your relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump, after today, can be salvaged?
Yes, of course, because it's relations more than two presidents.
In an interview with Fox News, Zelensky declines to apologize for clash with Trump, says relations with the US can be salvaged. He does not want to lose the United States as a partner. Ukrainian air defense systems shoot down Russian drones after at least 8 Shahed drones were launched on Kharkiv's civil infrastructure. At least 23 people killed and 20 others taken hostage in Democratic Republic of Congo as allied democratic forces linked to Islamic State carry out attack in Ituri province along the border with Uganda. Vatican says Pope Francis, in hospital with pneumonia, suffered a breathing crisis which caused him to vomit on Friday. He was given air and responded well. Microsoft is retiring Skype in May 2025, directing users to its Teams platform instead. Acquired in 2011, Skype revolutionized internet communication with free voice and video calls.